Okay, these are a few problems from the practice for normal distribution. The first one just kind of makes sure you understand normal distribution. So let me just walk through that one with you. In 2005, 1,475,623 students going to college took the SAT. The SAT is normally distributed with a mean of 520. That's the average of everybody that took it. Of all these students that took it, the mean or the average is 520. And the population standard deviation tells us how spread out from the mean everybody that took it is. And I'll kind of show you that in this picture here in a minute. Okay, and then it says what math SAT score is 1.5 standard deviations above the mean. All right, so what happens here is you have the normal distribution. You always have this normal curve, and what it indicates is that the most of the students fell in this range right here, and it makes sense that most of the students fell at the average point, or at 520. And then as we move this way, say out to 750, many less students scored here, and really few students scored that high or scored this low. What happens is if your mean is 520, then standard deviation tells you how spread out it is. So it's spread out by 115 each way. And so we can put these numbers across the bottom here, because 520 minus 115 is 405, minus 120 is 290, and minus 175, minus 290 is 175. So the question again is what score would be 1.5 standard deviations above the mean. So we go from 520, 1 standard deviation up, or 115 up. So 520 plus 115 standard deviations up gets us to 635, and then another half of 115. So another half of a standard deviation is going to fall right here, exactly in the middle. And if we work that out mathematically, it's 520 plus 115 plus half of 115 comes out to 692.5. And it told us to round to a whole number, so that rounds to 693 is this number exactly in the middle there. So that kind of just gives you a picture of a normal distribution with the mean and standard deviations plotted on it to make sure that you understand those. Then the second question says you have a SAT score of 710, and that score is 1.65 standard deviations above the mean or below the mean. Well, if the mean is 520, then 710 is over here. And that should be probably about right there, and of course that is above the mean. So that's just an understanding problem that you can work by hand. And the rest of them are mostly ones that it helps you to do those in Minitab, because Minitab gives us a beautiful graph. So it says the length of time to find parking at 9 a.m. is normally distributed with a mean of 6 minutes, and it's spread out by 2 minutes. Okay, so that's how spread out it is. That's the standard deviation. So to work these problems, it says find the probability it takes less than a minute to park. So there's a probability over here. What we got to do is we have to go to graph, probability distribution plot, view probability, and click OK. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. Graph, probability distribution plot, view probability, and click OK. Normally distributed, and then plug in your mean. Took an average of 6 minutes, and it was spread out by 2 minutes. And if you'll click options, you want to know the probability. We don't have the probability. We're given a value of 1, because it says what is the it's asking for probability that it took less than 1 minute. So we're given a specified x value of 1, and we want less than 1 minute. So we click left-tailed and put in 1. So specified x value less than 1. And if we click OK and OK, we click continue without autosave always. And then you get this graph here. And what this graph shows you is that less than 1 is in the dark red, and the probability of it being less than that is right here. It'll always give you that decimal number there. You can check your graph, make sure it did it right. Mean of 6, then it would be 4, then it would be 2, and then it would be 1 here. And you can kind of look at that, because remember its standard deviation is 2, so it goes down by 2s. and goes up by 2s. So hopefully that helps you do that. And let's look at one more. It says find the probability it took at least 8 minutes. That means 8 minutes or more. So graph, probability distribution plot, view probability, click OK. Normal distribution, same mean, standard deviation, but on our options, we want greater than 8 minutes. So that's right-tailed, and it shows you, if you look at the picture, that we're looking for the greater than part, which is to the right, and before we were looking for the less than part. And it's always there when you're answering those type of questions, then you're given a specified x value. In other words, you're given the value down here on the x-axis, which is the 8 here. And if we click OK and OK, then we get this beautiful graph, and it shows us everything over here is what we're looking for, greater than 8. So make sure the picture shows what you're looking for, and then your probability is always going to be up here to show the probability of the score landing in this area. That probability is 0.1587 rounded to 4 decimal places, which means you have a 15.87% chance of it taking more than 8 minutes if you wanted to think about it percentage-wise. So I hope that helps.